All right, let's get into it. This is a debrief on an operation that, by all accounts, should have been impossible. We're talking about a mission deep inside hostile territory, defined by a single point of failure. The target? Just one man. The hunters? An entire nation.
Now, you need to understand, this wasn't some kind of promise. It was a cold statement of capability. This was the very first field deployment of a technology that basically redefines the entire concept of hiding.
So the parameters were stark. The asset was a high-value officer, down behind enemy lines, and enemy forces were closing in fast. The odds of a successful recovery, they were rapidly approaching zero. The mission kicked off at 0:30. Dude 44, an F-15E, gets taken down by what we later figured was a shoulder-fired missile. Now, both crew members ejected. We managed to recover the pilot pretty quickly in a daylight combat SAR op. But the second crew member, he just vanished. So this asset, he's a US Air Force colonel, a weapons systems officer, call sign Dude 44 Bravo. He was injured during a high-speed ejection, he's bleeding, but he does exactly what he's trained to do. He scales this insane mountain terrain in southwestern Iran, finds a crevice to hide in, and starts a silent, desperate wait while Iranian Revolutionary Guard patrols are just swarming the area right below him. The CIA director himself said it. And look, this wasn't some kind of exaggeration. For almost 14 hours, we had nothing. No signal, no location. We couldn't even confirm if he'd survived the ejection. He was, for all intents and purposes, a ghost. The search box was 1,000 square miles of rugged, mountainous desert. And you have to remember, the Iranians were looking hard. I mean, they were out in big numbers. And word was, a bounty had already been placed on his head. So time becomes the primary enemy here. At hour 14, we finally get these intermittent pings from his Cecil survival beacon, but the signal was just way too weak to get a precise lock. By hour 24, our intel says Iranian forces are getting really close to his general location. The operational window, it was shrinking with every single tick of the clock. With all our conventional methods failing, we had to bring a new capability online. This was a classified system, something that had never been used in the field before. Its name, Ghost Murmur. We're talking about some truly exquisite technology. It was developed in secret by Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works. Ghost Murmur is a quantum magnetometry system. Get this, it doesn't look for a radio signal. It looks for the faint, unique electromagnetic signature of a human heartbeat. The process itself is pretty direct. First, these incredibly sensitive quantum sensors scan a massive area. Then, the system detects the signature of a biological rhythm, a heartbeat. And third, and this is the absolute game changer, an AI algorithm isolates that one specific heartbeat from all the other background noise, turning a whisper into a pinpoint location on a map. You know, funny enough, the hostile Iranian desert ended up being the perfect laboratory for its first real-world test. There was minimal electromagnetic interference, very few other people or animals around, and this high thermal contrast at night. It gave the operators the clean signal they needed, and it served as a secondary layer to confirm that those weak beacon pings, well, they weren't a trap. Okay, so locating the asset was one massive problem solved, but we still had to get him out. And to do that, we had to reshape the entire battlefield. We needed to buy ourselves some time. The CIA's Special Activities Center launched a covert information operation. The goal here was really simple: make the Iranians chase ghosts so we could recover our own. We seeded plausible but totally false intelligence, suggesting the colonel was already captured and was being moved by a ground convoy. And just like that, it pulled Iranian patrols towards these fictional routes. Critically, we kept the first pilot's rescue completely under wraps to create ambiguity. And then, overhead, a package of 155 aircraft created diversions across 7 different regions, forcing Iranian command to split its attention and its assets. It was a masterpiece of misdirection. And the plan was working. A special operations force was inserted. They set up a covert airstrip on a remote farm deep inside Iran. They got to the colonel. But, you know, the extraction is always the most dangerous phase of any operation. The asset was in friendly hands. The team made it back to the forward arming and refueling point. The extraction aircraft were spooled up, totally ready for takeoff. The end was literally in sight. And this was the holy shit moment. I mean, you've got the asset, you're on the finish line, and then a single, unforeseen point of mechanical failure threatens to turn the whole thing into a strategic catastrophe.
Turns out, the ground at the airstrip was a lot wetter and sandier than anyone had anticipated. The nose gear of both of our heavily loaded MC-130J transport planes just sank right into the soil and got hopelessly stuck. The mission's ride home was now a multi-ton anchor deep inside enemy territory.
With the primary plan completely shattered, Command had to make a high-stakes call. But the mission wasn't aborted. It pivoted. Hard.
Those immobilized MC-130s were way too heavy and they needed too much runway. The call went out for a lighter, faster alternative with STOL, that's short takeoff and landing capability. So 3 smaller C-295W turboprops, almost certainly from a very secretive special ops squadron, were retasked and sent screaming in at low level.
You have to understand, we do not leave our people, and we do not leave our sensitive equipment. So as personnel scrambled onto the new aircraft, a split-second decision was made. Those 2 MC-130s, worth over $200 million combined, plus 4 MH-6 Little Bird helicopters, they had to be denied to the enemy, permanently. After the entire rescue force evacuated on the smaller planes, an airstrike was called in on our own assets. The wreckage was left burning on the Iranian desert floor. And as the sun came up, those 3 turboprops lifted off. Every single American was on board. The operation was a success, measured in 1 life returned home, but it leaves us with a really stark question. This incredible capability was used to find a ghost in a hostile desert, but the technology itself, it doesn't discriminate. So what does it mean for the future of warfare and for privacy itself when there is literally nowhere left to hide?